Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back for a Monaco reaction / Fans Forum special. And I've got a very special guest with me tonight, Ryan from the UTV Fan Channel. Great to see you, Ryan. How you doing, mate?
Putting aside the result, very, very, very well, mate. It's a pleasure to join you on your podcast. I love what you and the guys do. You put out some superb content, so I'm delighted to be one of your guests, and happy to be here, mate.
Top man. Yes, we were just talking before we came on the show about how it should have been a happy, cheerful. We were buzzing about securing our place in the top 8 of the Champions League group phase. But no, it was a damp squib, and very similar to the Bruges performance that I think you and I were over in Belgium at the time, and a very similar performance to that one.
Yes, we was. We sort of give each other the wave from bar to bar, and it raised the point to each other. So it had all the markings of a similar performance tonight. Yeah, it was disappointing. Like, there is a bigger picture to the Champions League, but independently, this fixture, it's a bad day, a very bad day in the office. First half, we're making the same mistakes again. We're getting punished. The first shot and goal is going in. This has been consistent throughout the season, hasn't it? Conceding early, conceding on our first shots, giving away possession and getting punished, and it happens again. And we sort of handicapped ourselves from the off, and then. You give the home side momentum, and it's hard to come back from it, isn't it? Especially in the Champions League, and the goal come from a set piece, which was really disappointing because, like, Arsenal, 10 set pieces, 10 corners they had against us on Saturday, and we defended them so well. And then the first one tonight, they win the first ball and they react to the second ball, and you just come on, it's like so frustrating, but. Half time, Rich, I was calm because the shape was there, the intent was there. We was moving the ball, and I just thought if we could just make it click in the final third, then the goals would come. But sadly, they didn't, and the second half kind of like played the same way as the first, and we just couldn't get back into it at all. We just couldn't get that final third going.
No, you're right. It was kind of like one of those games in the end where it almost was like we could have played all night and we wouldn't have scored. And it was, there was some sloppy passes. And we'll talk about some performances in a second. But I felt it was almost like Monaco were almost so erratic in the way that they were playing, with regards to pressing the ball, or, they'd group players around the ball. But then when they would win it, they would go forward with 3 or 4 players in a kind of different positions. That Villa were trying to be so methodical and so like organized that it almost was a contrast, and we kind of didn't quite know how to handle it. The space seemed to be out wide all the time, yet we were trying to play these intricate through balls right through the center when all the space seemed to be out wide.
Yeah, Luca Dean especially, that left-hand side, he was in acres of space. And Emery sort of like, he wants to make the pitch bigger, and then he wants to draw teams in, which Monaco were doing. They were playing into the way we like opposition to come at us. So, they were happy to press us, and we were happy to make the pitch bigger, and then we'll look to penetrate them. It'll go straight through them. But it seems... We're doing that too consistently. There's no variation to our play. Like, pink it out. Look where the 2 goals against Arsenal come from. balls out to the wing, balls into the box, just that different variation of style, just to be able to mix it up. But we seem to get into patterns and patterns and patterns of doing the same thing like time and time again. And like, you sort of like, you are working it through the middle, then Bailey lost control a couple of times, bouncing off Rodgers, and there's no break from it, is there? It's like, right, we'll go again, give it them again, not try and work different angles and work them into the game a bit more. And yeah, it was very, very sloppy in the final third.
Yeah. I will go through a few comments before we kind of talk it through. And it's good therapy in a way to kind of get these frustrations out. Dennis said, flat, awful performance. Scotty, UK, well, that was a poor performance for a group that was desperate to reach this tournament. Even Emery cocked up. He said, yeah, I'll get your thoughts on these comments in a little bit. JP said, another shocking performance. Bear in the garden. What happened there? Adamski, all the way from Australia, slept in and missed it. Good job you did, mate.
Is that a worldie?
Yes. Gary, unbelievable. We're still 8th. Rachel said, at least he's honest. Some coaches would gloss over it, but it's brutal and honest, which is fine. Leon, again, terrible with a few others. Beat your man, rinse, repeat. What's difficult? Yeah, not funny about. Yeah, exactly. When we lose now, we lose badly. No character or leadership, but we were talking about how the character and the leadership and the resilience we showed on Saturday. So it's really strange that in terms of why we didn't really have that. But you talked before about the set pieces, and we conceded off our first set piece, but our set piece delivery was so bad today. We was either couldn't beat the first man, or it was straight into the goalkeeper's hands, like looped into his hands. And what was surprising to me is we've had situations where in games where we've taken it short and we've done these really intricate short corners and we've gone, why not just put it in the box? Whereas today it felt like we needed to play some short, intricate corners because they had some big lads in the box. Yet we just kept putting it straight in the box. I didn't get the logic.
No, it was like a training session for the goalkeeper, wasn't it? It's just, and it wasn't even under pressure. He sort of got that ball every time with ample space around him, and it was like, I can't see what we're trying to do here. Like, are we trying to hit that near post where we've had a lot of joy all season? But like, even though like our intent to attack it just didn't feel like it was there. It was just like lumped in, and like you say, and like we say, with attacking through the middle, just a bit of variety. And we've proved that we can have that variety on corners and mix it up a bit. But even that's really fell flat tonight.
Yeah, back to the drawing board, I guess. And before we focus on one or two performances from players, I want your thoughts on one or two performances. Ollie Watkins kind of teased the idea of him and Duran being able to play up front together, and Emery did that. He made the decision. It was sort of 4 or 5 minutes into the second half and put them on up front together, but it didn't work, did it? They kind of huffed and puffed for the first 5-10 minutes, and then I don't think either of them moved out of their positions for the last half an hour of that second half. It just seemed to be a really strange decision, and Emery admitted it to, he got it wrong with that change.
Yeah, what was it? Tottenham? Was it the Tottenham game where we did similar, and Duran and Watkins come on, and sort of Emery regretted it then, didn't he, in his post-match comments? And he put them on, and like you said, there was a link up as soon as Duran got the ball. It was into Watkins. Watkins looked to play it over, and I thought, okay, we've been working on this, All this talk of can they come together and play, and Watkins dropping hints in his post-match against Arsenal. It's like, have they been working on it while Duran's suspended? And like, again, it just fell flat. But I kind of feel a bit sorry for him, because the times that they have come on and played together, we've been scrambling around it. We're scrambling to find an equaliser, like that Tottenham game where I think we were probably 2-1 down, 3-1 down at the time, and again just scrambling. I think we need to try and get them in a fixture where they can start together. Maybe Tottenham in the FA Cup could be an ideal fixture to trial it, because I feel like Duran's all-round game has come on quite rapidly this season. You see him drop back a lot now. and try and link play, and Ollie can run off the shoulder and stretch teams, but Ollie's also got the capability to be creative and get assists. And on paper, you feel like the two of them can be moulded to play, but it's what's behind them, like, is the issue. You know, what are we losing in the structure of our team to incorporate two up top? And you know, Emery's methodical, and he'll plan this tactically, and I just feel like he's threw him on tonight in the hope that it can galvanise us. And now he's actually regretting it now, and it's very rare that you're seeing break that. Like,
it seemed a bit Steve Bruce-ish, didn't it? Oh, I'll just shove another striker on. I actually think he possibly, I don't know, I felt like that moment, fair enough, make the sub after 55 minutes, because as we sit there, Bailey was having a bit of a shocker. He missed a couple of, got a couple of efforts on target, but apart from that, was very, very, very anonymous in the game. And when he did get it, like you see, was falling over. But in terms of that sub, the timing was probably right, but I felt like maybe it needed a bit of a jolt and make a triple substitution at that point. Bring Matson and Duran and Ramsey on, or something like that, or bring Boharder on, who did so well on Saturday. Maybe just freshen it up just that little bit more, instead of just going, right, we're just going to shove two of you on up front, because it was getting to the point where Rodgers, Tielemans and Kamara were getting a bit leggy in that midfield, and you're obviously going to stretch yourselves because you've taken a man out of that midfield area to put another player up front.
Yeah, and plus you pushed Luca Dean wide, Cash wide, and Kamara was doing that screening job, and he was sort of forming a back three and then moving into midfield. But because it was so spacious, the game, and like Monaco were happy deep and pushing on up, it really opened the middle up, and it just exposed the middle. Then it kind of lost control of that middle. Like Tielemans is like running around on his one, like trying to hold it all together. And for Emery and for a team like Villa and what we're trying to be, Emery loves control of the game, and it felt like throwing the two up front, we sacrificed that a bit, and pushing Kamara back, we kind of like lost control, and it sort of like lost our momentum, didn't it, in the build up? So there's still work to do on that forward too, if it can be done. Maybe it's like we have to play a back three and a pivot, and it's like, what are you going to sacrifice to play them two, and is it worth it? And there's still a lot of questions to be answered on that front now.
Yeah, and it is difficult not to get sort of really overly frustrated with it. But like you said, there's a bit of context to it with regards to, it's the Champions League. You're playing in these games that are very, they can swing by on a moment. That was a sloppy set piece in the 8th minute of the game, but then Monaco kind of defended for their lives, frustrated Aston Villa. Similar to Bruges, they defended for their lives, frustrated Villa. And these are the types of teams and games and situations that Villa are going to have to get used to. We kind of experienced some of that last season in the Conference League, but this is that next level up, isn't it? And it's just making sure that, I guess now we've had a few of these games, it's even if you're not playing at your best, the likes of Watkins, the likes of Duran, the likes of Bailey, when they do get an opportunity, they have to try and put that chance away to tilt it in our favour if we are going to go further on in this competition. Yeah,
of course, because Monaco, they was in real poor form, but they're an experienced Champions League club, and they've got like know-how. Like even Club Bruges, very experienced, aren't they? They're in this competition every year, and for us, it made us look a bit novice at times. And sometimes you just want to batten down the hatches, grind that result out, and we just couldn't get it over the line. And like being in 8th place, like and getting a result today and having it in our own hands for Celtic next week would have been incredible. And I think the fact that we've been in that top 8 for the whole of the tournament so far, haven't we? And it's just that like I wanted us to be ambitious and have that mentality to cling on to it. To say, look, we've got 2 games now, get 2 results, and we cling on to it. And it's that mentality. And I did a match reaction with Luke on the channel, and Luke mentioned about that mentality to get over the line. You know, we're talking like Sheffield United at Christmas to go top of the league. You know, the semi-final, just having the mentality just to finish the job, and it felt like this was one of them again today. Like, you know, you get through this, and we're putting ourselves in a position to go to Villa Park, incredible atmosphere, and have it in our own hands to go and beat Celtic and qualify for top 8. That, you know, none of us in our wildest dreams kind of expected before this tournament started. But you know, we put ourselves in that position, and you know, we've earned every single point. You know, it's not by fluke that we're in that top 8. We've done absolutely brilliant, and I just wanted us to see it through. But like, you know, getting in this final 16 is absolutely incredible in itself anyway. And you know, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. You know, results can go our way. We could beat Celtic and we could still do it. So it is all to play for. But you know, it's just sort of this game independently on it. So just niggling at me a bit. It's niggling at me, man.
As it stands, we're actually in 7th position. I think that's good, correct news. As it stands, which is a bit mad. So that might be better. Yeah, Gary has just said there we're actually 7th, and Barcelona are now 4-4. So that's that's
because they were beating.
That's a bit more encouraging. Yeah. Dennis said should have included Louis Barry. Couldn't be any worse than any of our forwards tonight. I mean, we've debated Louis Barry for quite a while. I might get your thoughts on him later. I just wanted your idea. Your thoughts on is there a bigger kind of gap in performance when Morgan Rogers? I know, I absolutely love him. I want to qualify this because if my mate Callum, who does my clips me up and telling him you is crap, then I won't live it down. So I want to qualify this. I absolutely love him. But when he is amazing, he is amazing. But when he is tired and I guess sort of when he's having a bad game, he is absolutely awful, isn't he? And then that second half today, I don't think he passed the ball to a Villa player. I tell you, like, he had a lovely shot with the outside of his right foot, but the drop off in level, he's got to work on that, hasn't he? And I know he's a young player, but yeah, is there ever a bigger drop off in performance than Morgan Rogers?
Yeah, he had a very, very sloppy game tonight. A very sloppy game. That's what happens with his games sometimes. You know, when you're picking up the ball and you're running and you're taking men on and you're in form and you're firing, you're untouchable. Everyone's bouncing off you. It kind of like reversed, did it today? Like everyone was knocking him off the ball. His final ball were just like non-existent, really. There was one moment. He got to the byline. He was going to cut it back for Watkins, and just the way he played that ball, it wasn't even heading towards Watkins. It was a hit and hope. And look, he's a young lad, and I know you love him. And he's took on one hell of a lot of responsibility this season for our team to go through him. And like he hardly misses any minutes. And I don't know. I know Emery, like. I haven't seen his post-match comments, but I wouldn't expect him to mention anything about tiredness or anything like that as an excuse. It's a no excuse culture at the club. But
he blamed himself, to be fair.
Did I?
Yeah, he said he shouldn't have made the substitution so early in the second half to put 2 strikers on. He said we lost our shape, we lost our momentum, because he said we were actually playing well at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing the right things, wasn't it? It just weren't coming off, and I kind of feel like that 70-minute, that subs, we sort of just evaporated, and I felt energy evaporate. I felt energy evaporate out of Morgan Rogers in that second half, and I think back, it has been a long week. You know, we lost 5 away games on the bounce. We stopped that right at Everton. That was only like last Wednesday. We went to Arsenal, come from 2 goals down, and then we've gone to Monaco on Tuesday night. So within the space of 6 days, that's been a big effort. And he's kind of like felt it. You just felt that evaporation of energy near the end,
and goals would have changed. It had, Watkins scored right at the end of that first half, or Rodgers after that really nice move outside of the foot shot. If that would have gone in, then you're obviously going to get a bit of a boost. And I don't think Monaco were that good either. Like, they were giving the ball away a lot. As I say, they were quite erratic. They were quite sort of hectic in the way that they were playing, and it was. I think that's where it comes into that kind of slight missed opportunity for us sort of area. So, yeah, it's one of them. Now, a slight positive, more positive, was I thought Emi Buendia, from a little bit of a shaky start, which is totally understandable, I thought he had a good game and looked busy. And, that mid part, the sort of 30 to 70 minute mark, I thought he was really sharp. And there's a sign of things to come there if he does stick around.
Yeah, he was very snappy, wasn't he, on the hard turn, always looking forward, looking to play through balls, and everything that we remember Emi Buendia was before the injury, and he's been plugging away, hasn't he? He's been coming off the bench, he's been making a difference, he's been getting assists and linking up, giving us that boost in them last few Premier League games and the game against West Ham. So he fully deserved his start. And again, like the rest of the team, we kind of drifted towards the end. But for Emi Buendia, it's like he's got 85 minutes in the bag tonight. Looked very, very good first half, and you kind of feel that he has still got something to offer to this squad this season. I know there's been a bit of talk about him going out on loan or potentially moving on. His contract's up at the end of the next season, and there's a lot of speculation around him, but he has just got his head down and doing the things that has made him a success before the injury, and you're starting to feel like he's getting that form back.
Yeah, definitely. And he's one of those players he can frustrate and he can amaze in equal measure. And we seem to have quite a few players at the moment. Sorry, in the Villa side. Morgan Rodgers I've mentioned. Emi Buendia is a bit like that. Leon Bailey, who's probably more towards the frustrating at the moment than the brilliant. But we seem to have quite a few players that are like that. It's just trying to get a few of them playing at that level a little bit more consistently to really set this second half of the season off, really.
Yeah, because their body talk and the way they're doing interviews and everything feels like it's ramping up, like they're puffing their chest out a bit more, like they're getting ready for this second half of the season. Feels like we've conserved energy a bit more, and I don't think we're going to have the same issues, barring an injury crisis or whatever. I feel like we're going to have we've got the physical capacity to build momentum right the way to the last game of the season, attacking 3 competitions. So yeah, it's just we just want them on form together in it, because if we could get them all firing, oh my god, the firepower that was on the pitch today, we just couldn't get going, and it's finding that consistency. And you look at the Premier League now, Rich, and it's just crying out for someone to be consistent, and you're going to get Europe, aren't you? There's a bunch of teams there,
100%.
And it's just a bit of consistency, and you're going to fly up that league and maintain your position, because it's crazy at the minute, and it's absolutely crazy the way teams are beating each other, and it's so condensed and so packed out in that middle. It's like, for us, what you'd probably give us a 6 or 7 out of 10 for our season, yet we're still 3 or 4 points off 4th place. It's incredible, and if we can just pull it together now, hopefully we'll go on to talk about transfers. But if we can finish off a good window, and that's getting a few more guys in, that's another momentum builder, and we can really push on then.
100%, mate. Few comments. Rachel said Buendia played well. That's the only real good thing. Carl said yes, Buendia started. He did well. He would have won if Morgan could have finished off some of his passes. And Adamski says Buendia just needs minutes. He reckons he will come good. We're 8th now at the minute, so I will bring the league table up, because we'll kind of preview. We'll talk a bit about the next week's game, which is huge now. So let me just bring up the table. But in terms of you guys watching, we've got over 200 in the chat already on YouTube and on X. So please do smash that like button if you haven't already. If you're watching us on YouTube, share it on X as well, and obviously follow myself at Villa Park Pod or Ryan on at Ryan McKeown. Is it
McKeown? Yeah, hold on,
McKeown. Yes. Follow us on X, and I actually want to talk to you a bit about your 5-point plan threads because they're fantastic. I don't know if you'll get a 5.1 out of this game, but
it's a bit of a depressing read.
Yeah. But in terms of the table, let's just take a look because we have fluctuated. I think we dropped to 10th at one point, and now we went up to 7th. Now we're 8th as it stands. Barcelona have now, I think they've turned it around and are winning 5-4. So we're actually 8th. But I was more looking at it because who we could face. Now, obviously, quite a few teams have got 2 games to go. But if you're looking in 24th position as it stands, Manchester City, Real Madrid are still down there. PSG, I think, are kind of 26th. So it's imperative, isn't it? We're getting this top 8 because we could, theoretically, when you're thinking, oh, well, we might play someone who's not quite as strong in that kind of 9th to 24th position, we could end up playing Real Madrid or Man City or Sporting Lisbon or Benfica or someone. And it's like typical Aston Villa, like just missed out on the top 8 and end up drawing Real Madrid in the playoff round.
Yeah, and like not to be too cynical about it, and this could be the result that sort of could get us knocked out, couldn't it? Because you don't make it, then you get a Real Madrid, a Paris Saint-Germain or someone, then you're right under pressure. And we've gone from being in that top 8 all campaign and just slipping out. But I think there's still going to be like twists and turns in there. And Celtic at home is massive. But I fancy us in that fixture. It's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be at a level that the Bayern game was, isn't it? So it will close the group, well, the league period of a home game. So the atmosphere is going to be superb, and 3 points, and if we could just keep close to that top 8 there, anything can happen. And I guess that's why this league's been designed for this final game, like game day 8, all kicking off at the same time, and it just fluctuates in people's positions. And I guess that's the excitement now of this format.
Absolutely, and I don't think it gets much bigger. We had obviously, like you said, a huge game against Bayern Munich for the reasons that. Villa obviously played them in the 1982 and everything like that. But I guess this one for, say, a Champions League and to be, sort of take for other fans of other clubs to take notice, it being a Battle of Britain type situation just adds that extra spice to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, you've seen the Rangers-Tottenham, wasn't it, game in the Europa League, and even that, that got quite a lot of coverage because it was that Battle of Britain, and I think United's got Rangers on Thursday, so it does has that spice to it, and I can't recall in my lifetime ever seeing us play Rangers or Celtic. I don't think we have. So remember. It's a first.
Yeah, McGinn hopefully back. I imagine he's racing to get fit for that game, or at least be part of the squad at least. And
how unlucky has he been because he missed the Bayern game as well?
Yeah, missed that, and then hope Onana's back as well because our bench did look a little bit light, didn't it today? With regard, obviously Marlon's cup tied. You got Onana missing, McGinn missing. I always think Barkley's good in those type of games where you just need a bit of an experienced head. Obviously, he scored against Leipzig in the last away game in the Champions League. He's kind of made for those nights, isn't he? Just to settle it down, put his foot on the ball, pick the right pass. We were trying to go through the middle, as we said already, but I'm pretty sure he would have gone, let's go out wide, let's use the space, and that's where I think Barkley would be vital if at all he can get back to fitness.
Yeah, how nervous was you when Konza went down and I thought, oh my god, who's coming on? I think it was Swinkles we had on the bench, and
probably
to throw a young lad in like that, and we've got no one else, have we? It's like so. What is it with us? I think we've had like a full squad for that one game, didn't we? It was like everyone was back, and then since then it's like we're always handicapped by injuries. It's always Like it always starts to
Seems
look
to be
good.
like 3 and 4 week ones as well.
Yeah, and they all come together, don't they? Like a couple of injuries one game, and someone goes out in training. It's like you're 3 or 4 men down, and it hurts us, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I say, fingers crossed. We've got some players back, but it is going to be a massive game next week. And just to round up on the sort of the tonight and sort of looking at next week, I think you touched on it. If you'd have asked Villa supporters, and sometimes it comes with a sequence of games, had we beat Bruges and Monaco, were probably 2 games that we'd said, oh yeah, we should win those, but we lost to Bayern Munich. You'd probably say, oh yeah, that's, and maybe even Leipzig, if looking at it on paper at the start. I know Leipzig have had a terrible Champions League campaign, but you'd have probably said, oh, we'll lose to Leipzig and Bayern Munich, but we'll beat Monaco and Bruges. It's just the way that those results have come, the opportunity that we've kind of passed up. But if you'd have asked to be in the last game, in and around that top 8, a home game against Celtic to clinch, potentially clinch top 8, you'd have took that before it started, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, it's still a fantastic opportunity, isn't it? And we've put ourselves in that position, and we can only go and win the game now, can't we, Rich? We can only go and beat Celtic and hope other results go our way if we're not in that top 8 come the end of this round of games. So it's been incredible just being in the Champions League, the clout of it, having like Villa's name amongst and above a lot of like the Real Madrids, the Paris Saint-Germains, the Bayern Munichs, just being involved in the competition. The badges on the shirts and everything, and I've honestly enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. I think that the team has fully embraced it. There's been a different like Euro vibes at Villa when we've been playing in Europe, and like it has got that kind of like pressure-free environment where we've gone out and performed. Like tonight's been the one that's stumbled that momentum, but the home games and stuff, we've really approached it brilliantly, and we should have beat Juventus as well, shouldn't we, with Rodgers' goal at the end?
Yeah.
And we took them to a draw. Bologna, that was an absolute superb game, the way we played. Obviously Bayern will forever be in the memory, and it's been a superb competition, and we could sail the top 8 and put it to bed then until March, and if not, then we've got an extra game, haven't we? So
I just like I say, I just hope it's. I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be great to go to Real Madrid or something like that, but you want it
on the UEFA website. There's a simulator, and I was on it today. You pump in your predicted results, and then it gives you your league table. So I did it with us drawing tonight and winning against Celtic, and that put us 9th, and we drew Paris Saint-Germain. So that's the level. Yeah, that's the level. That
I had a look at the table, and I thought we are probably going to get someone like Paris Saint-Germain. Yeah, but I mean, you've got to bring them on. Exactly, mate. Exactly. Let's move on to his fans forum as well as a match reaction. It just happened that we played obviously Monaco tonight, so we've had a bit of transfers today. We've announced a player, Andres Garcia. We talked about him. I think I did a transfer talk show a couple of days ago, and then when it was almost there, I kind of featured him again. I don't know how much you know about him, but it looks like €6 million or £6 million, from Levante, 21 years of age. He's 6'1", right back, but he's both footed, seems very attacking. And, I don't know whether he will be a pushing Matty Cash right from the off. I'm not too sure whether they brought him in with that in mind or whether to bring him up as the season goes on to more pressure next season. But what do you think about it, first of all, in terms of bringing in this guy from Levante as a signing?
Yeah, well, like most, I've never heard of him, to be honest. Never heard of him, but I do like his profile. I think he fits that like youth development category that we're sort of buying into. Jalkovic, Duran 18 months ago, Rodgers picking up this talent, and who are playing first team football and then bringing them in and moulding them, and he'll by the looks of it, I think he'll have this half a season at Villa, and his adaptation periods, and he'll work on him. And it looks like Nedeljkovic then might go out on loan, so he's kind of like in and around the first team potentially. And haven't I've had a look at his profile. I've watched his highlights, and I know, like, historically, watching highlight reels, like, you shouldn't do it. Like,
Ali Samatta springs to mind.
Yes, Tonev as well. We got by Tonev, but the available stats that you've got now to back up them highlights, it can paint a picture of his profile really well. And yeah, he's very progressive. He's very attack minded. Some of the highlights I watched, he's cutting inside, he's pinging them with his left foot, top corners and stuff. So they've obviously identified something in him, and we stole a march on the likes of Sporting and stuff who was eyeing him up as well. And you've got to convince these players to come to our club and show that there's a route to the first team, and that is like, you've got examples of it, and there you go, son. This is a big opportunity, and so it's an exciting every young signing a youngster that with a bit of potential. It's exciting, isn't it? Most people like to get behind them type of
absolutely, and look, if you look at the track record of what we've done with players who were what you might class as rough diamonds, Morgan Rogers, who you've just mentioned, John Duran even, look at what they would fetch now in the market in terms of a transfer fee. So if he comes in and has the impact, even half the impact that Rogers has had, obviously in his respected position, you're talking about signing someone for 6 million, probably selling them for 30, 40 million if everything goes well, which is, as you've pointed out before, and I've sort of mentioned on this, is like, this is kind of like the middle part of the strategy in terms of like the three-pronged transfer strategy, like, say, polishing these rough diamonds and potentially being able to sell them for huge money, or obviously they carry on in the first team and help us progress.
Yeah. Everybody respects what Brighton are doing, and look, the amount of money they've made doing that. And we're sort of like, it's sort of like following that same philosophy, really, isn't it? And you've got like your first teamers that come in, your Pau Torreses, your Yuri Tillemans, your Ananas. Then, like you say, you've got these youngsters, rough diamonds that we can polish up, and then you've sort of got this crazy PSR trading deal sort of over here, just doing mad things every window to window. Like that kind of makes our like transfer strategy look a bit chaotic. But when you look at the first two categories, then you see the strategy then, and we're doing what we need to do, aren't we, to hit that PSR mark in the rest of the deals.
We seem to have a thing with Chelsea about helping each other out with PSR. I think Newcastle have the same with Nottingham Forest. So yeah, these clubs have and maybe we did a little bit with Everton as well this year. Yeah. Carl says the Garcia signing is good, a faster version of Pedro Porro. He has speed, to which is something this team lacks. This team needs speed. The ball needs to move quicker than what our midfielders can do. Yeah, and they just hope that, say, if he progresses as we hope he does, then you anticipate two fullbacks as Ian Matson eventually, and this Andres Garcia. And you think about that, if there is a lot of pace out wide, then the space that would either open up out for them to attack out wide, or then what it would leave in the middle for the likes of Ramsey or Rodgers to exploit is obviously what we want, because as you've said, sometimes we can be just that little bit predictable. If it is always, looking on the left for Luka Dean, or trying to find Leon Bailey in a 1v1 situation where he very often gets doubled up on, or just trying to force these passes through the middle, it can get a bit predictable if we keep trying that same strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And Nedeljkovic fits the same profile, doesn't it? Like physical, pacey, athleticism is something that we're getting into this squad now, and it power, like the signing of Anana, and that's something we need. You need variations of everything, every type of profile and style, and it's I feel like signings have been very well thought through, the long term ones.
Well, we wish him all the best. He'll probably have to, like you say, bide his time. He might get one or two little appearances, but I'm sure he'll have to bide his time to get used to the Emery style and what he wants him to do. We've seen it with various other players that Yuri Tillemans had to do it last season even, so we've seen it happen. Now, it looks like Diego Carlos is moving on. It's been confirmed now, I think, from Fenerbahce that he's agreed in principle to sign for them. I think he's over there now having his medical and what have you. A bit of a, with Carlos, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because he's had so many really good games, well, not so many really good games, but the high profile games, the Man Cities, the Arsenals, he's played so well in those games. Yet one or two other games, maybe the lower profile games, he's kind of made the odd mistake here or there, or lost that little bit of concentration. And I felt like maybe the injuries hampered him, but the Carlos that we probably wanted in terms of being a rock and a wall at the back and winning every header and winning every tackle, we maybe haven't quite seen that with him over his Villa career. But like I say, albeit some really good performances.
Yeah, I think when he come in, Gerrard weren't really seeing eye to eye with Tyrone Mings, was he? And it sort of felt like, okay, is this a Mings replacement? Man mountain, win the ball and stuff like that, but never really give off that aura, did he? Like for the games, and like you say, the big games, like on his CV, 2 man of the matches against Arsenal, City, Bayern, like absolute baller. Well, absolute brilliant. His diagonal balls as well, but then comes the lack of concentration. And how many times have we seen him like working out from the back and give the ball away and put ourselves under pressure and like scrambling around at the back, and it just could never really find that consistency. And you know what Emery's like, man. He's like he's a beacon for consistency, isn't he?
Yeah, once you've plotted your copybook, you have to work very, very hard to get back into it.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like we tried to move away from Carlos in the summer, and we ran out of time. And like a lot of these deals that we're doing now in this window is kind of finishing off what we didn't get finished in the summer. I think like time beat us. We heard Vidagani and Monchi talk, didn't we, before the start of the season, how stressful it was, and they couldn't celebrate qualifying for the Champions League because they're stressing out about PSR and getting through. And it feels like, Carlos was due to move on, and it just ain't quite been right, has he, all season. And he made his comments before he left, wasn't he, saying he weren't injured and stuff like that. So bit of a sour ending to his Villa time. But like you say, on his CV, he's got some great wins for Villa. And like when you watch the highlight reels of all these great Villa victories under Emery, he's going to be in all of them, isn't he? Because he was superb at the big occasion.
Just turn up for the big game, just for the highlight reels. That's what Diego did, basically. Yeah, exactly. Now it looks like we're gonna get about 10 million, I think, £10 million or something like that. I don't know. It's a bad transfer fee. I think he's 31. I think he's on big wages as well, which I think was a big part of it. But Loic Bardet is the potential sign-in. I don't know whether there's a bit of negotiation, a bit of brinkmanship, but apparently we put in a €21 million bid with some add-ons. They're adamant they want €30 million. I'm sure something will get done, but I think Monchi might be playing hardball, saying doesn't want to go above the €25 million mark. But can you see that being made this week? Can you see that getting over the line, or do you think we might go for other targets?
Yeah, potentially. It's not. We don't seem to let one go without having one lined up, or we'll bring one in and the deal's done to move another player on. So I feel like we'd be leaving ourselves very short if we have let Carlos go now and without the replacement lined up. But you know what transfers are like. You can break down at any time, and you can leave yourself. You can leave yourself short, but. Like the profile of that kid as well. Good structure, good figure, like very quick along the ground, and moldable, like Emery, Emery's is an architect, isn't he? He can mold these players into how he likes, and that there is a perfect profile for Emery to work with.
Yeah, no, we definitely need centre backs, like you said before with Konsa. Look, that was not good when he went down in that position. So we definitely need someone. So I'm hoping that one's pretty much the next one on in line. Where else do you see Villa potentially doing any business if they are? And do you see there's been speculation about Duran, these derisory bids as they've described them from West Ham, Buendia potentially moving on. Do you see anything else happening, related to those, whether they're incomings or outgoings?
I kind of feel like I said earlier, we're finishing off the summer business now. With Villa, Gene, I'm not quite fully convinced that we did want him back in the summer. It felt like we kind of run out of time, and he was an option, and we had the buyback at the discounted rate because of the sell-on, and we got him back in to see whether he could be reintroduced into this squad and Emery can get a tune out of him. But Bayern, again, like Carlos, Bayern, United, he had that little spell of run of games, and after that, he kind of looked flimsy and not really up to it. And then he got moved out, didn't he? Because he held that value that, and the club's interested in him from the summer. So we knew we could move him on and get him mailing in. That's probably the type of profile that we wanted in the summer. And again, the same with Carlos. We're moving Carlos out and bringing a defender in. So yeah, I feel like they are the two positions for a January. Could I see a Buendia going? Possibly, but he might have just played his way into staying. If he's happy with that role, making impacts off the bench, potential start here and there. If he's happy to be that squad rotation kind of guy, then I think there's a place for him in that squad. And the Duran with West Ham just a bit weird, Can't quite get. Is Sullivan and that just playing up to the fans and saying, look, we're going after him again, putting in bids, but 57 million, man. Yeah. No chance. Not a chance. He's one of the hottest youngsters in the world, isn't he? He's exactly. Who's doing what he's doing at this age? And you're not gonna sell him on 57 million now. No chance. He just signed a 5-year contract. So strange. And why would you leave Villa for West Ham? Mid-season when you're in Champions League and West Ham are where they are, the attraction of London surely is not that great to pass up the club you're at now. So I find all that strange.
Yeah, mate, I agree. It smacks of when I did my tour transfer roundup last night. It smacks of kind of West Ham sort of saying, well, we tried, we put a bid in we wanted John Duran, but the price was just too much, or Villa wouldn't do a negotiation with us just to kind of appease their fans a bit, with regards to, trying to get a striker in when they inevitably get, I don't know, Patson Daka or something on loan from Leicester, just for argument's sake, we tried for Duran, but we've had to get someone else.
Yeah, and they'd made a mug of themselves in the summer. You know what I mean? You only needed a few more million and you could have probably prized him away for 40 million in the summer. So to come back again in January, it's a bit shameless, really. So, they should just part that. They should just part that Duran's room now. So...
And what about Louis Barry? He seems to be the talk of everyone, with regards to whether he is going to be involved in the first team or whether he is going to be sent on loan or even sold. We've seen Celtic interested. I think Racing Club Lens are interested the other day. Every Championship club, I'm pretty sure, is interested in him. But, Unai Emery seems to be impressed with him. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, the kid had huge potential. He ended up at Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? And I think he was the first English kid to be picked up and go there. So that just proved the potential he had. And then obviously we snapped him up, and he had a few loan deals that didn't quite work out. He had a good period at Swindon, and then you look for him to kick on again. He struggled with a couple of injuries, and he went MK Dons, and I think he went Ipswich, and never really settled. And then he rocked up at Stockport last season, and he had, albeit it was League Two last season, but he kind of like found a home, and he kind of found a manager that believed in him or put him in a position where he can excel, and it's key to his attributes. And he really had a good season last season, and he pulled his hamstring, didn't he? And he had to have surgery, and that killed his season. But come back, and they got promotion, and he went back again. He just hit the ground running again and really settled. And you feel, okay, there is something about you, even if it is at a lower level. We've seen the likes of Grealish go down to League One. We've seen Ramsey go down to League One and then come back and join us and kick on in the Premier League. So I'd imagine Emery's having a good look at him. So there is the potential for him to stay if Emery likes him, or like you say, he might go, okay, he needs another loan. Let's give him at a higher level. You know, if a loan to Celtic is on, there's a greater level. Come back, we'll assess you again. Or it could be like Finn Azaz, where he went to Plymouth, didn't he? He raised his profile there in the Championship, and we ended up selling him to Middlesbrough, didn't we, for money? So, yeah, it all depends on this little assessment period that he's going through now and what happens with him. But I always root for young talent, youth talent. You always like to see someone come in. I'd like to see him given an opportunity if he's good enough. But the problem we've got is the level we're at now. Like, the level when he joined and he scored that goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup, we was at a right lower level there, weren't we, compared to where we're at now and how sophisticated our play can be and what's demanded of you. And like, there's a lot of information to take on board. So it's not easy to step into this Villa team. So, we trust in Unai, don't we, to make a decision on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if he's going to impress in training, then I think there is an opportunity there to give him minutes and to give him time in the Premier League, because as we've seen, one or two games in one or two appearances in the Premier League, one or two, with the likes of Chukwuemeka, even with the likes of Kellyman last season, that adds a good few million onto a price tag that you can then charge to other clubs, and if he scores or something like that as well, which I think he's got that bit of arrogance about him. I've said this a few times. I think he's got that bit between his teeth that maybe he's a bit different to say what a Cameron Archer might not have had. Like, I feel like he would just, whatever level he's at, he would kind of back himself to just get the ball, cut inside, particularly from that left hand side, and just hit it from anywhere, like a bit like John Duran does, maybe go outside, think outside the box a little bit to, do something out of nothing. I think maybe Barry's got that sort of instinct about him. So, yeah, I can see that. I can see that maybe happening for him this season. But, yeah, either way, I think we come out of it on top because of the fact he's had such a good first half of this season and as you say, a first half of the last season, which has obviously done his reputation really good.
Yeah, 100%. So, let's see what happens with him.
Nice. Well, guys, we'll finish up very, very soon, but please make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 300 watching tonight, which is amazing, at nearly 10:30. So thank you so much for your support. As I say, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. We're over 5K now, on the road to 10K, so please do help us get there. Just wanted to talk, I guess, before the weekend, mate, with the Premier League. Obviously, West Ham coming up. We beat them in the FA Cup. Graham Potter maybe hasn't quite had the new manager bounce that he might have sort of wanted. I think they lost on the weekend. Was it to Crystal Palace?
Yeah.
Didn't have a good game. He's suffering a lot with injuries at the moment, but good opportunity for Villa to get that win on Sky, I think, after most of the teams have already played. So we can see where we might be able to get up to in the league. And then beyond that, I think Wolves at home, Wolves away after that. I know you touched on it earlier, but if we can get some consistency going in the Premier League, a huge opportunity for us. You know, the next 3 games, I think, is West Ham, Wolves, and then Ipswich at home. In between those, we've got some cup games. So, yeah, big opportunity for us in the Premier League to really kick on.
Yeah, it's like back-to-back wins for most clubs are a lot hard to come by, aren't they? And like on paper, you look at them next 3 fixtures, and you're thinking that's a good opportunity now to really embed ourselves in that Champions League race, really, isn't it? If you're looking at 5th place, we're enjoying the competition this year, and it just makes you hungry for more, doesn't it? So, we're kind of like, when we get to the business end of the Premier League, we're looking to cement our place in it again, and like that would just be absolutely insane to get back-to-back Champions League campaigns. But I think West Ham, like every Premier League game is difficult, and every game independently brings its own challenges up, and we'll probably face a bit of a better West Ham than we did in the FA Cup. Potter's had more time to work with the team on structure and shape, but they are struggling with injuries, especially in the final third. But again, on paper, Villa at home, R4 kickoff. You'll be under the lights by the time the game's kicked off, and you fully expect Villa Park to get behind a win. And like we've not done too bad in recent times against West Ham at home. It was a superb performance last season when we beat them 4-1. Wolves a bit more tricky, and Molyneux's like,
you just never know what you're going to get, do you, at Molyneux?
Yeah, no, it's a dump. It's a dump, man. It's like it's just the performances have never been great. They've always been a bit sloppy and a bit muggy, and but they're not in they're a bit up and down at now. You don't know what team's going to turn up with them. If Cunha's on fire, then you're in for a game. If not, if you can cut that supply to him, then they're very average. So so it's all about us. If we could get 9 out of 9, then that's a right boost in it for the season. And sets us up for the Celtic and the Tottenham game in between all that, and we're fighting on free tournaments.
Yeah. James said Marlon to start versus West Ham.
Potentially. Where'd you see him? Sort of, kind of alongside Watkins or Duran?
Yeah, I guess it would be in that Bailey position, but maybe sort of having a little bit more freedom to drift in. As I know sometimes Bailey has done it and played quite close to Watkins at times, but I think maybe, Marlon is that, I guess, a foil for what Moussa Diaby was last season, like drifting in from. He can play out wide, but he can drift in off that right flank and then play off Watkins. For me, Marlon as well seems a little bit more bullish, seems a little bit stronger than maybe Diaby was. Like, that was a criticism sometimes of Diaby, wasn't it? That he might get pushed off the ball a little bit too easily or something like that. So, yeah, but it could be a good opportunity for him to start in a home game, team crowd behind him, and obviously a situation where we want to be attacking in that game as well.
Yeah, it's the unknown as well, isn't it? It's the unknown for West Ham as well, bringing him in. And I kind of feel like the shape and our setups sort of shifted since we signed him. Not, he hasn't made an appearance yet, but when you start seeing Kamara sort of screening a bit more, and that's giving license for Cash to go forward, and that sort of opens that inside position then for a Marlon. And I feel like that area there, like you say, with the Diaby role, is well suited for him, and he is a lot more direct, isn't he? He's a bit more shot hungry, he's a bit more goal hungry. His mentality is goals more so than assists, isn't it? And it's we probably need that like directness up there, because goals they've kind of been lacking, haven't they? Obviously Rodgers is chipping in a lot now, but the likes of Bailey and Tillemans, they've only just got their first goals of the season, and you look at Luiz's
Ramsey
goals,
McGinn hasn't scored.
Ramsey and McGinn, yeah, exactly. So look at that four there, and the goals we've lost from Louise and Diaby, we haven't really fully replaced them. So hopefully this deal is a successful one, and we can start. It's in the back of the net and having more shots basically, and being a bit more ruthless in that final third.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we might even see, you never know. I doubt it, but Garcia might start, might have Barde in. It might be a whole new look Villa team this Sunday. You never know. You never know. Carl says, one request before we go: when do we get a Lions Den pod with Academy AVFC? Well, actually, I'll message Charlie today, so I think we'll get one done this week. So please look out for that, and I'll ask him about Caden Young, obviously in the squad today. But I think Villa played in the Senior Cup tonight. I think the youth team played in the Senior Cup, and then they obviously had a great win against Newcastle in the Youth Cup last week. So we'll have plenty to talk to Charlie about on that show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I do want to. I've promised this for ages. I've got these Aston Villa playing cards from Matty AVFC, who's on X, the designer, and I've promised to do this to our members, so you can a draw for our members to win one of them. So you can do the countdown, Ryan, for us to. So I've got all the members in the chat here on the random name picker. So if you can just do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'll pick the random name to see who wins these from our members, and then I'll get those sent out to you. I've been promising this competition for about a month, so I've remembered tonight. So yeah, just give me a countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mate, and I'll pick the name.
Right. Okay, good luck, members. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's Rachel has won the prize. There we go. One of our biggest supporters of the channel.
Oh, she's great, Rachel. Yeah, she comments on UTV. Yeah, she knows her stuff as well. She's very knowledgeable.
She does. Well, one of our mods as well. So well done, Rachel. Congratulations. We will get those out to you very, very, very soon. Ryan, it has been an absolute pleasure, mate. You'll have to come on again on our fans forum. Thank you so much, mate. If anyone's been living under a rock, where can they find you on socials and on your other YouTube channel?
Yes, I contribute to the UTV Fan Channel, so you can see me on there, mainly on the match previews and the fan cams after the game. And on Twitter, it's my name, but backwards, so it's McKeown_Ryan. So I'm normally writing quite a bit of analysis on there as well. So yeah, that's where you'll find me. And Rich, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm grateful for asking me to come on the show. Love what you boys are doing, so keep it up. And you've got past your 5K and on the road to 10K now. So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, lads, and yeah, keep smashing it.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, you are more than welcome on any time, mate. We, as I said before, we'll be back. We've got hopefully Academy AVFC Lions Den latest coming up this week. We've got the West Ham preview, talking tactics, I think, with Gareth, although I don't know, as Ryan does his 5-point plan, I don't know how much tactical chat we can get through about the Monaco game, but we'll see what we can do. And obviously also our transfer talk roundup. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Keep hitting that like button, hit that subscribe button. Help us continue on the road to 10K. Thank you all for watching. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.